Taiwanese Chinese is a little bit different than mainland. They have certain different words for things, as well as different a little bit pronunciation. The most well-known difference I could probably describe is that it's like comparing our English to like Sean Connery. Like our English is Taiwanese and Sean Connery is mainland. So like, I must ask you some questions, but I'm saving them for later. Compared to, I must ask you some questions, but I'm saving them for later. It just sounds super, super weird. And the first time I heard a mainland Chinese person speak, I just thought they were an Asian Sean Connery. Because they just had that heavy sound. I don't even know how to describe it. So like, 你是谁 compared to 你是谁 would be like, who are you? And they kind of have a little bit of an accent. Like the heavier Dalu mainland accent is 是, whereas you could say 是 compared to Taiwanese, which is 是. There's just the same word. And there's a million different ways to say the same sound. Like one character, or one sound could have 40 characters. But the beauty of it is that it's also simple like that. Once you have the basic like 30 sounds down, that's all you need. Like once you have the sounds down, you can hear things. It'll be different characters, so it'll have different meanings, so you have to go by context. But the difficulty that I had with learning it, but I enjoy now, is that it just has so many levels of learning. You learn pinyin when you're first starting off, and then about a year into my mission I started working on characters in depth. And they have traditional characters in Taiwan where they have simplified characters just about everywhere else except for like Hong Kong and some BYU classes. After I learned traditional, then I come home from my mission and I have to learn simplified. And there's just so many levels of learning that I went through that I love teaching it to my family. Chinglish is the best language that ever existed, to be honest. Because English has flaws, Chinese has flaws, but together they can make the super perfect language that ever existed. Because their grammar is different, but sometimes the usage is just so convenient. And the word convenient in Chinese is just so convenient to use, because everyone uses it. Everyone uses it. Like, oh, can you come to church? Oh, it's not convenient. And at first when I was in the culture, I was like, what? What do you mean it's not convenient? Or like, they just use it for everything. It's in context. It was hilarious. Especially for me being a foreigner, not understanding their culture of how they use certain words, or this word hai hao can be used in just every sense of kind of not agreeing, but not like shutting you down. It's the sense that I felt that it had, like, oh, it's kind of cold outside, and you just be like, hi how, which would mean like, not really, but it would just be like based on the perspective of the situation. There was never like a definite feeling that it had. So that's what I loved about Chinese, is it had just such a different feel to the usage of it, that I haven't studied other languages other than like Spanish or American Sign Language, which I guess every culture has its own, every language has its own culture. The accents are a little thick or thin in certain areas, which makes it hard to understand, or they speak really fast in certain places, which makes it really hard to understand. There are multiple dialects, many dialects. On my mission I encountered Hakka Chinese, Taiwanese, Mandarin Chinese, Cantonese, and there are many more. But I knew someone from Singapore that could speak 13 languages, like 9 of them being Chinese dialects. And I was like, I can't even grasp one. So it's just remarkable that I feel like the skill they have for languages, most of them are multilingual. Like at least speak Mandarin and Taiwanese, like at least. And then a lot of them are working on English or something else.